Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ava and Ivy Talk. Today we have a very special guest. He played a big role in episodes 2 and 3. It is Harrison number 251. He was one of the 4 leaders that turned down $1 million. But that's not all he's known for. He is also a Navy veteran and he lives out of his car, quote unquote. So it's actually really amazing what you do and how you've built your own lifestyle for yourself. But yeah, so let's just start getting into the conversations. First, I need to bring up Vegas because you were in my original alliance, our Primetime Alliance, right?
Yeah.
Those were honestly some of the best memories in my opinion. But do you have any major memories from Vegas that would probably be fun to share with the audience?
Just our group sleeping on the ground every night together, kind of, just like all hanging out. That was a lot of fun. I'd say the number one memory that like sticks out to me is when we were on the bleachers after the third game, waiting for them to set up the fourth, where someone had to eliminate themselves to get out their whole group. And our half of the stadium got desserts and all the good foods and everything, and the other half didn't.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
I came back and told Liz about that, and she threw a fit and like went nonverbal because she was so angry. That was a blast. And then during the time that we were sitting on the bleachers, I noticed that 2 of the main producers were eating Raisin Canes down by the platforms. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. It was just like a little notice thing, like, okay, noted in the brain. And I saw them put it underneath the platforms. And so I just didn't think anything about it until like 5 hours later after we were done with the last challenge. And then I went down there and everyone was hungry, everyone was tired. We're waiting for buses to go to the hotels afterwards. And I go steal the Raisin Canes from underneath. And it's cold by now, but there's like 2 almost full meals. And I bring it back to Liz and then everyone else that was around us. And they're like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Oh
That was
my
one of my
gosh.
favorites.
You're literally scavenging. That's crazy.
That was so fun.
It's funny how you remembered that it was there.
Yeah, so Liz and I were just sitting on the platform that it was like stored on, and I'm listening to her talk, whatever. I have ADHD, and I was just like, Raisin Canes, and then I went and grabbed it.
So you got the best meal out of all of us. That's fire compared to the boiled eggs and the oatmeal. So
no, literally. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so Vegas was super fun. I definitely do want to push into the actual Beast Games, right? So episode 1, just little highlights from our Primetime Alliance. You were next to Ike, right? And we go through the first challenge, and what does Ike do?
Yeah, he took the $20,000.
Yeah,
he thought it was closer to, it was like 70,000. Everyone thought they were taking, and then it dropped down to 20.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because everyone clicked it last second, but he was still happy about it. I mean, you can see him in the shot.
Before they revealed it was $20,000, I looked at the screen and I was looking at the screen clapping because everyone left, got money, whatever. Ike comes up from behind me, steps onto my platform, and I look at him like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why'd you just leave your platform?" And he hugs me. He's like, "I had to do it," and I was like, "Ah." And then I got super emotional. And I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm so happy for you," thinking that he got 70,000 at the time. I was like, "That's so sick. I'm so stoked for you." And then he starts walking forward, and then 20,000 comes up on the screen. I'm like, "Oh gosh, it might not be so good," but he said it helped him pay for his wedding. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the only reason I was happy for him. I'm like, you know what? He's getting married next month. I think that was the smartest decision, honestly. So
yeah, Jeff was in my row actually.
Really, Jeff was?
I had Jeff in my row and Jordan 499.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
I met Jeff, so I was rooting for Jeff throughout the entire thing too, but I met Jeff on the bus while we were waiting to go into the hangar bay one of those days, and we ended up having a conversation for 4 or 5 hours just talking about life and stuff. So through that, I learned about his hospice company and that he had a son with the creatine deficiency, and I was really rooting for him, if anyone.
That's so cute. I can't believe you were in the same row. Small world, right?
Yeah, no, for real.
Thankfully. Someone could have wiped us out.
Yeah, really.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, moving into the city, and in episode 2, you were on Less is More, correct?
Yeah, 2-star.
Oh my gosh.
That's tough. Wow. And you kind of took a lead in that. I remember before that, you were like, I'll be the one to pick up the phone. You know, you were kind of already knowing that you were going to be a leader. Do you want to talk about that?
It wasn't me saying that. Everyone else kind of thought that I was stern and felt a little bit of safety. So everyone was kind of already rooting for me, and I didn't really I was never okay, it should be me, guys. In no way did I want that to be the case of how I'd become a leader or anything. I wasn't interested in that. It was mostly Janine. I was
Mm.
like, everyone's like, Harrison's a really good guy, I believe in him, blah blah blah. So then Janine is the one that like pushed everyone toward me, and that was kind of the same thing after the challenge and after we survived it. And then she got everyone to kind of like crowd around me to be the team leader.
Yeah, so it just
So
kind of naturally led to that, which is kind of
Wow.
crazy. Did you expect that? Especially when you got picked to be the $1 million leader. Like, did you expect to be picked out of everyone there?
no, I had no idea.
Was there
I thought it was
anyone
really
that went up against you, quote unquote, that wanted to do it?
so everyone stood on a park bench and we like kind of just pleaded our cases. Everyone else was like, oh blah blah blah, I should be leader for this reason. And I was just like, hey guys, I live in a car. I'm a Navy veteran. I plan on like driving to South America after this, so money's not that important to me at the moment. I have enough for what I want to do. Then everyone kind of picked me out of that, and then the last second there was Ozzy who came out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hang on, I think that like we should run a vote against me and Harrison." And everyone was like, "Ozzy, like plead your case," and he just decided to say a prayer instead of being like, "Here's who I am. Here's why I would not accept money." So I think that including myself and others were very turned off by. We're like, okay, that's not very cool. Like, might work for some people, but some people were very put off. Like, you're not bringing prayer into this kind of thing right now. But it was like almost split from what I remember, and then I just
Really?
had a few more people in my row, and ended up being me. That's
Wow.
what led to a bunch of people not being sure if I was going to take it or not. They didn't know me, and they were also just I think they were rooting for Ozzy to be the team leader. So
Right.
Ultimately, you ended up being the leader. Let's talk about that moment because that is a huge moment. It was the cliffhanger to like the premiere of the show. When you were standing up there, was there any moment where you were like, maybe I should press the button?
no, there was no possibility of me pressing the button. There was no way of me thinking like rationally or anything. Because I mean, if I was removed from the situation and saw it the way that the watchers saw it, it definitely would have made a lot of sense to take $1 million. And I think watching how the rest of the season played out after Gage kind of connived his way into the top 6 or whatever, and then being pretty much immediately forgotten or forgiven, and like there were other players that did similar things and they were just like forgiven shortly after. So I think that like I wouldn't have made it very far after, but I wouldn't have been the ultimate villain if I did take it.
Right.
Up there, no, I was thinking about Janine, I was thinking about Jeff and his son, and then how other people have reasons possibly like Jeff's for why they're there and to win the money, knowing that my reason would be like financial stability for future family or making investments or buying more trucks. So my shit is not that important compared to everyone else's. And I was just okay with it. Plus I felt the same way like Twana and Jeff and everyone, or Twana and Jeremy and everyone else felt like you're taking money that is not yours and you didn't really win it fairly. And you also promised something to be up there. You would not take the money, so it just, like wouldn't feel good all the way around.
Yeah, I remember you were like the one leader where everyone was like, I don't know, he might do it because no one really knew. Well, people like knew you, right? But no one really knew you. But I remember the day after it happened, I had breakfast with you and people were coming up and they were like, dude, thank you. Honestly, I was a little nervous, but I'm glad that you didn't do it. So thank you for saving us. So you were the one that had a little doubt because you were more so the quieter one, right? Jeremy's very outspoken. Dino's pretty loud, and so is Tawana. So you were the quieter one. People didn't really know, and you were the youngest. So I think that had a lot of
youngest by like
reasoning with
15 years, so I would have the
Yeah.
most incentive to take the money for my future. I totally understand everyone's reasoning behind thinking it would be me. I also like didn't really say a word while I was up there. I just like stood still, hoping to like inspire confidence, and also knowing that everyone thought I was going to press the button gave me like a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I knew that I absolutely could not do it. And then the fact that like my purpose right now is to like just live a cool life and have something that for when I have children or grandchildren, I'll be able to tell cool stories. And what's cooler than saying, fuck you, I don't need $1 million from a game show.
Right.
Or would you say, I eliminated 66 people unfairly to win $1 million in a game show? One of those to me is cooler than the other.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah,
for
100%.
Sure.
Did you get like what was your friends and family's reaction to like your choice in that?
I don't think many people had the reaction that I thought they would. Some
Right.
people, I think, were like, "Oh, of course you wouldn't have done that," and then others are like, "You're stupid." I don't really talk to those people anymore, but
Right. Yeah.
whatever. Or anyone that has an opinion on something that I can't change,
Mhm.
or if they don't have a time machine, then I'm not interested in hearing what they have to say because it
Yeah.
just literally doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But I told
Mhm.
my mom, and she just didn't have much of a reaction because none of it does justice until they actually see what happened. And by that, when I was telling my close friends and family, there was no video proof of it, so they didn't
Mhm.
understand
Right.
fully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the situation.
Makes
When you did get sent up there, obviously you weren't thinking of ever pressing it, but were you thinking about like, if I did press this, would it ruin my reputation outside of Beast Games? Because you already have a social media following. Do you think that would have affected like your life? Because it is your career essentially, and that was like another reason why you wouldn't press it, or did you not really think about that?
At the time, I thought it would affect it more than it would have. Looking back on it now, I don't think it really would have mattered at all. I
Mm,
mean, maybe a couple of hate messages here and there, but I think most people would just be stoked from the outside looking in, like, "Oh, he won $1 million," kind of thing.
true,
So
yeah. And it's
it's
like
definitely something I thought about then.
if you did do it, you would have. I mean, you did get out next round, but you would have gotten out next round probably if you did take
Right.
the money anyways. So you would have made it just as far as you did.
Unless I happened to pick people and then just played the crybaby role, like I'm not playing a game with you guys. And I
Mhm.
had two people that like absolutely wanted to be in and would sacrifice one for the other. Like
Um.
some people did that and were successful.
Wait. So who was in the box with you? It was Matt, right? Bald Matt.
Matt and Cody, yeah.
Okay.
Matt I
Okay.
really like and have kept in touch with, but Cody I couldn't care for.
So yeah, going into episode 3 and the red box, did you even think about using you turning down $1 million as immunity? Did you even think about doing that?
No. I mean they even like show on the show, they're like, "Hey, do you want immunity for what you did?" And then they put in the TV show that I said no to that.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't feel like I don't know. Really weird. I didn't feel better than anyone else for the challenge for the decision that I made. I
Mhm.
didn't feel like that should like hold merit forever or anything. So I just politely said no. Then we played a game of chance. And I didn't know Matt or Cody before that, aside from like talking in our bunks a little bit. And so they weren't really like friends of mine. We just were physically close to each other when he said get two partners.
Mm.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie.
And they were friends.
If I was one of those leaders and I turned it down, I would be like, guys, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like let me through. But it
Absolutely.
says a lot about your character, and you made the
Mhm.
choice to not be immune because they did offer it to you, and it would have
Yeah.
been between
Were
them.
they in your line when you were captain?
No. No, they weren't in my
Okay.
line when I was captain. And they were also friends from the very beginning of Vegas too.
Mm.
Oh,
They had
gotcha.
an alliance or whatever. I was definitely the odd man out in the cube.
Mm,
I think that
wow.
even if I wouldn't have eliminated myself, Matthew would have been the one to go home because Cody wouldn't have done it,
Did he say
no matter
outright
what.
he was just not
Man has like 8 kids and
mm,
just tried to go back on his promise and a handshake of like, okay, sandwiches are the decider. Because we played another game in the box thinking that the sandwiches would never come. We played high card, low card Monopoly deal. I lost that 2 times because the first time was a fluke, but I still technically lost, and then the second time I lost. And so, but before that, we handshook and we're like, hey, if the sandwiches come, if we get them by the end of the 5 hours, I'll decide the fate.
Mm.
So from the second that I lost high card, low card, he tried going back on his promise, and he's like, no, the universe just like spoke. Like the cards are where they lie. And then Matthew's
mm,
like talking to him for the next 3 hours, telling him how to be a man, and I'm sitting there like taking a nap the entire time. It just like was not good, and Cody
Yeah.
was kind of a piece of shit. Not
So
wow.
technically you lost every game, including the
plus
sandwich.
3.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I think
Wow.
my mistake is feeling like bad since I had lost the previous two. I was in a state of like, okay, like I kind of deserve to go last pick or whatever. I just like the guy came in with the 3 sandwiches in his hands, and the bottom one was the loser. And so they just like pick the top two, and then I get stuck with the last one just because I was like, hey guys, I'll go last. Fine, since I lost the last two. So just a string of things. But like you could say it's luck or whatever you believe in.
Dang.
I just felt that like, yeah, universe kind of, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
As
I've
much as it sucked.
Wow. Yeah.
Painting myself to the wall felt like dying like a fucking gladiator. Like, okay, it's for the good of the people. I'm a warrior, kind of thing. I don't know. It's funny,
No,
but it's
right.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah, it is crazy how things turned out in there. And I mean, I remember I was in a box pretty close to you, and I look over when my window opens, and you look at me and go, and you're cuffed to the wall. I was like, no, bro, like, there's no way. I was so pissed. Once I was done with my box, or I was able to talk to you after, and I'm pretty sure we were talking to Nolan, were we not?
I don't remember.
We like walked out of the box together, and we stood in front of the 5
Oh,
million, and you did like a little exit interview, and then
yeah, I do
that
remember
was
that
it.
actually.
Yeah, but I wanted to bring up one of my favorite lines from you specifically. The one of your final lines, probably. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he asked, like, "Do you regret not taking the $1 million?" And you said something how you liked who you were before, so it like doesn't really matter now. Do you remember exactly what you said?
Yeah. Well, I think it was I was fine before the $1 million. I'll be fine after, or
That
something like that.
Yeah, which is like such a valid point, you know. And
Mhm.
dude, that's why you have. I'm pretty sure on Reddit you were voted. Oh, I forget what you were voted, but you were voted something. And it was because of like your integrity and how you were just like, you know what? There's really no difference. Didn't have $1 million before, so I'm the same person now. So that was
Right.
really awesome. I feel like that was like your perfect exit moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wish they would have told more of a story around the characters by that point or anything. They even like came by and got like a 30-minute interview about my life. Like
Mm,
after that happened was when we were in the city the next couple of days, and they
mhm.
didn't use a thing of that. And I have no
Yeah.
idea where it
Oh,
is.
wow.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I wish they included so much more. And that's another question that I want to
Mhm.
ask you. What do you wish they did essentially better in Beast Games now watching as a viewer?
Mm, I think just including more people's like stories,
Mm,
because no one really know. Even a lot of the top 10, no one really knows their backgrounds or their stories or anything.
right.
People only really know Jeff's
Right.
story, which is totally
Yeah.
fine. We're all plebs now.
Dude, okay, one other thing about like your storyline specifically, dude, if you would have stayed in the game like even just a little bit longer, I feel like you would have had such a great storyline, you know? Like you just have
Mhm.
such a good backstory, and then going up as leader for the 1 million, I just feel like you would have had such a prominent role. So, it's kind of
Yeah.
disappointing. Obviously, I was upset when you left, and once you left, that was literally the rest of Primetime Alliance, so I was on my own at that
Wow.
point, so that kind of sucked. And I
And then
had
you
to
had new friends though.
Yeah, right.
You had new
I
friends.
and then I met Ivy, so it's okay. So yeah, I mean, Ivy, do you have any more questions that you want to throw out about Beast Games itself, or anything that you want to talk about, Harrison, about Beast Games that we haven't really covered before we move into like your real life, essentially?
Oh, but I had a conversation recently with somebody about how weird it is, like the FOMO you get for not being a part of like the later episodes or anything. There's different levels to it too. Like the people that got out in the first 3 rows in episode 1, like they feel pretty shit and like excluded and everything from what happened further on. And then there's people that they've got out by the end of season, like episode 1. And then I feel like there's the cube people that are excluded from everyone else moving forward. So just like every challenge, like you just feel like less and less part of like the group or the family that you thought you had before. Like how close you got to the people at the time seemingly doesn't matter, and everyone got
Mhm,
closer and closer and just like shuts people out from before.
mhm.
It's so weird. Just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
Right.
like
exactly what
top
you mean.
top
Mhm.
50 feel excluded from top 10, and just like it's weirder and
Yeah.
weirder.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
chain, but like obviously we are so grateful about like how far we made it. But yeah, we have FOMO of not being in top 20, you know, like not being at the
Yeah.
chain. But then you feel bad saying that because you went home episode 3, 500 people went home episode 1, like so it's like
Yeah.
we can't really say we have FOMO because we were lucky enough to make it as far as we
There was
did.
Right.
But
one moment where I was like, "Ah, these people." It was when we walked into the restaurant at the premiere, and I got there like a little bit before everyone, but it was supposed to be like only island people.
mm,
And I walk in, and there's this girl
Mhm.
sitting there with the Habibi brothers. We're just like making conversation. The people that I drove down from Salt Lake with, the other contestants, like, "Oh yeah, like, what's up, guys? Hi, nice to see you again." Blah blah blah. They're like, "Oh, you're here. This is supposed to
Oh.
only be island people." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking?
yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up."
I remember we
I
were
was so, I
sorry.
was like, what?
Because we were supposed
Yeah,
to
that's
go to
crazy.
that. We were supposed to go, but then we ended up just not going. We just went straight to the hotel
Mhm.
instead. And I remember I was texting, or I knew you were there, but weren't you with Annie at the
Oh, Annie.
restaurant?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, Annie
yeah,
and like a
that's
few
what I
other
thought.
people I, like actually was friends with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that girl and the Habibi brothers just acted like they were better than everyone else because they made it top 50. And it just felt super weird and like ruined my mood the rest of the evening.
Dang. I mean, besides that moment, did you have fun at the premiere? It was awesome seeing everyone there too. I know we have our picture of Primetime, which it's kind of crazy that we all were able to go out there, or most of us at least. But did you have
Yeah,
fun at the premiere?
yeah. I had a blast. I enjoyed being there with everyone too, and then sneaking into the celebrity party too
Yeah.
was sick.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Any highlights from that? Like, did you meet anyone where you were like, "Dang, that was pretty cool that I met them"?
Um, do you know Graham Stephan, like financial YouTuber?
Maybe if I saw
No,
him.
dude, I've been watching on YouTube for a very long time. Definitely didn't fanboy over him or anything, but ended up talking to him for like probably an hour and a half. This man is much shorter in person than I thought he was, and not that that affects anything, but I was standing there talking to him, and I was leaning down because he's like 5'1", 5'2". My back started to hurt by the time that I was done talking to him, but he's the coolest dude ever. And he ended up giving me his phone number, and he's like, "Hey, hit me up if you have any questions about YouTube or anything ever." So it was one of the coolest interactions from
Oh,
that.
that's so awesome. And you were there pretty much the whole time, right? At the celebrity premiere. Didn't you watch it with everyone too?
Yeah, and like a couple rows in front of where. Yeah, okay. So me and three of the other people that I rode down from Salt Lake with, the only reason we were able to get in is because one of them had their jersey taken by the FaZe clan, used for the promo that was happening that day. And so they weren't able to give him his jersey, but they're like, "Hey, by this address the next day and you can get your jersey back." He started talking to one of the staffers, and the staff gave him and the two other people wristbands. I hung back on the pier because I'm like, there's no way they're going to get in, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go there and then feel excluded, whatever. I would just rather not go. Then they're like, "Hey, we got in. Sorry, we're not sure if we can get you in." And so I end up coming by, talking to the receptionist, and then this woman gives me a wristband. Maybe she felt sorry for me. Who knows? She hadn't seen it or anything by the time. So I end up walking in past Jimmy, and Jimmy stands up and he's like, "Hey, how did you get in here?" Questioning me immediately. And I'm like, I was given a wristband. If you don't want me here, that's cool. I can leave." He's like, "No, no, no. Stay, go watch, whatever." Didn't really care, which was cool. Maybe he just didn't want to make a scene. And so, yeah, we watched it with Nolan and Carl was sitting like right beside me and two other people. Then a couple rows in front of us, I watched Young Gravy watch me on TV. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, that is cool.
I just can't imagine the feeling you had, like, going in there, because you were highlighted so much in that episode, so then the rest of the party, everybody knows who you are, everybody knows your face, like, that's so awesome.
It's cool, but I think that some people thought that I took the $1 million or won the TV show or something because I was the only
Right.
contestant that was there.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was talking to Graham, and I did tell him that I didn't take the $1 million, and him being a financial YouTuber, he's like, "Oh, you really should have done it." And he's talking to me
Oh
about
my
what I could
gosh.
have done, stuff like that. And I'm like, I know, but I think will possibly outweigh itself in the future.
Dang.
Right, 100%.
But like, also when I saw that you were in the premiere, I was like, he's low-key a celebrity too. Like, he has a big enough following where he's
Yeah,
it's pretty
right.
valid for him to be there. So
No, literally.
Yeah. Nobody else knew that at the time.
yeah, that's true. And then when you made that video of like your
Oh.
cars and you were like, "Did I take the $1 million?" Like essentially like pranking the world. That was so funny.
Yeah.
That was so
Yeah, that was
funny.
good.
I haven't heard anything from anyone on the Beast team or anything over what they thought of that, but I thought it was creative and well played out.
I'm sure
I don't think they would
loved
have
it.
minded
Yeah.
too much. Maybe advertising.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like the perfect way to advertise episode 3. So I think that was genius on your end.
Contestants' content didn't really go viral or anything. The way I feel about the show is everyone watched it, but nobody really cared to talk about it online, aside from like Reddit. Weren't any moments that like really went viral online or anything. Like, no, not everyone was talking about it like we thought they would be. It was so
Right.
large and so watched by so many people.
The moment that I see the most is JC's moment.
Yeah,
and
for
all
sure.
that, so
I also thought I got pretty close to JC too, and I would not have expected him to do that.
I didn't expect him to do that. Ivy,
I didn't either.
Yeah, and Ivy was close
I
with
didn't
him
either.
since Vegas, right?
Yeah.
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 I think I only knew him
Crazy.
from the hotel on, and I was like, oh, there's no way.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Which that reminds me, as something I was gonna say, Harrison. So me and Harrison were in the Delta Hotel together right before filming for the season, and most of the Delta Hotel that was like remaining, I think at that point, we were all in the same line for the captain thing. And I remember everybody was like, people were like saying like, "Oh, the young guy, he's gonna take it," like whatever. And the whole Delta crew, we were all like standing there, we're like, Harrison's not taking it. We're like, we just know this guy's not gonna take it. But everybody was like talking about it.
I don't think I was like I wasn't really that talkative within at the hotel or anything too. Pretty quiet.
But they all
Like
like all of us
stuff,
were
but
saying that we all felt like there was no shot you were taking it. We like people are saying the young guy, and we're like, no. We're like, he's locked in. He's got to be locked in right now.
thank you. I had no
Of
idea.
course. Yeah, we had your back.
I have no idea. I did apply for season 2,
You did.
so we'll see what that looks like or what happens. I don't know if I'll be chosen because it seems like they could be going with all new people for this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
And then when they pivoted to strongest or smartest, don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
I mean, out of all of us, you probably have the biggest chance of going back, Harrison, because we
Oh,
went
absolutely.
far enough. We had a lot of experience. You turned down $1 million and didn't make it as far as we did, so I feel like you have the highest chance for sure to
Yeah.
get called back.
Turned it down and then dipped.
Yeah, literally, like you need to go back, especially because you're the only one of the 4 that didn't make it as far. I think you definitely need
Right.
like your redemption arc in season 2. So
See, they did call me for one of the YouTube things, but then pretty soon after it canceled that because they changed creative direction. I don't know if it was the 20 people one or the 100 people one.
Oh yeah,
Idea.
I
right.
wonder. Well, I mean that's high hopes though. Maybe you'll get called back for another video too.
It's not so high on my list of priorities right now,
Right.
but it would be cool. The little side quests.
Yeah. I honestly
I'm focused right now on what I'm doing.
Yeah, do you want to go into that a little bit more? Going into like your career for people that literally know nothing about your life. Do you want to just explain kind of how you got to the point you're at now and where you're going in the future?
Yeah, grew up in a mobile home. Dad passed away when I was 17, and lost the mobile home. Moved with my aunt. Lived with 5 people in a 2-bedroom house for about a year before I was able to join the Navy. In the Navy, served for 4 years. Spent probably a year of that time out at sea, and through that realized the importance of like other people around me and how short life is, and realizing that you need to fill it with people you care about and cool experiences. So when I got out of the Navy, I was doing different like entrepreneurial things like renting cars and renting rooms on Airbnb, and none of that brought me happiness. So I was either going to travel overseas or within the US, and travel overseas didn't open up because of COVID. So I moved into my Porsche Cayenne at the time, started creating content around that, did that for 2.5 years, sold a house that I used my VA loan to buy while I was in the Navy, and walked away enough to purchase the Unimog that I have now and live out of for the last 1.5 years. And I'm going to drive this to Argentina.
Dude, you talk about it like it's nothing. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like you've accomplished
A lot more
so
details than that
much.
too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I'm sure there is, but you've accomplished so much with the car thing at least. That's around like 5 years, yeah, maybe less.
Bought the first Cayenne 4 years ago,
Yeah.
like February 8th of 2021, I think.
It's just crazy. I love watching all your content. I'm jealous. I wish I had something like that. I wish I had the ability. Like obviously you have all the knowledge to make these modifications.
The knowledge only comes through like having to learn it. Anyone can do this. They just have to spend enough time to be able to do it.
Right.
And I think that I am adverse to risk, and it doesn't really matter. So I'm able to not care about spending money on learning something this fashion.
Wait, yeah, so is your next big trip your South America thing or
Yeah, I've been planning to start that for like a year now, but I made a whole bunch of modifications to the truck which extended the timeline by a lot. And I would be ready to leave within a month to head down to South, or like to at least enter Mexico and start heading south.
Mhm.
Right now Mexico is starting to heat up. I'm not too sure if I want to be driving through central Mexico in the hottest time of the year. I might wait until fall, until it like starts to cool back down again.
Mhm.
That might be wise. Really playing it by ear. I could leave whenever I want.
Yeah, I mean, you have the freedom to do so, but I mean, in my
Mhm.
opinion, I say you probably wait. I would not want to drive down in like that summer heat. But what are you gonna do in the meantime? Just work on the Unimog, make some new modifications? What are you gonna be up to?
I just sold a car at auction yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and that went for like $30,000 more than I expected it to.
That's
So
awesome.
that's a helpful boost. So no more Cayenne stuff. I have a Ford F-250 and the Unimog. The Ford F-250 is going to stay in the U.S. while I go adventure internationally. And just fill my time with creating content, and then maybe drive the West Coast if I end up waiting to go into Mexico for like a while. To just hang out in like Oregon or Washington for the summer.
Ooh,
Once again,
that's so sick.
jealous.
Oh, who knows?
So jealous. I would love to meet up with you at one point. I would love a tour of your Unimog. And I just want to see you again. I haven't seen you since December, so it's been a while, and I would love to link up.
Yeah. If I do spend time in Oregon, it's definitely going to be Central or like Bend. Bend is my absolute favorite.
I want to go
area
to
in Oregon.
Bend so bad. I've never been, and literally everyone has been telling me, like, you have to go to Bend. Like, I feel like I could see you living there. I'm like, well,
It's like my number one pick above Salt Lake. Salt Lake's number two of all the places that I've been in the U.S. But Bend is just like too expensive, and I would not be in the position that I'm in right now if I tried to make it work in Bend.
dang.
So it makes a lot of sense to spend the summer there and like live out of a vehicle and do whatever. Living there full time doesn't make sense for me right now. But getting to float the river in the middle of the day with your closest friends, and then everyone goes back to work after, like on your lunch break, you're floating it, or after work, you're like floating the river and there's concerts going on. So you just get free live music of like whatever artist is going on. Or there's like forest 10 minutes away where you can just go mountain bike or hike around. And then you have a ski mountain like 30 minutes away.
Well, expect to see me out there soon. Just saying.
Okay, really well.
I'll definitely text you. But I guess that kind of wraps up everything that I really wanted to cover. Is there anything else, Ivy, that you wanted to say?
I was gonna say, we obviously know you have a good following on social media. Do you have any advice for any people who want to have a career? Like, what's your best tips after doing what you've done?
There's a quote. I don't remember who said it, but I heard it years ago. And it's that if you want to be important on social media, it's most important to like be important in person, or be most credible in person, or somebody people actually want to follow in real life. It'll help. Or like make decisions that people don't do. Do cool things. Like do something so cool that people have no choice but to watch what you're doing. Realistically,
I like
so
that.
like
Okay.
some shit that someone can't look away from. And you'll do all right on social media as long as you tell a story in a way that people understand and enjoy watching.
That's some valid
All
advice,
right.
Harrison.
Yeah.
You're a wise man, let me tell you that. You really are. It's funny because you're so
Yeah.
chill and like you don't really come off as like, I don't know.
Humility is my favorite trait in human beings.
Yeah.
Including myself.
I love that. I love that. So Harrison, obviously this is going to be the little final thing. We want to roll out the red carpet for you. We want you to shout out all your social media channels, and then, let us know if you have any messages for the world or any advice for anyone. That's it.
No, I don't have any messages for anyone. They can pick it up through whatever we've talked about previously. Right. My socials are just Harrison Shoen or Harry Shoen on pretty much everything. So
perfect.
Find me.
All right, well, that wraps up this podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed listening to Harrison talk about his Beast Game experience and just life in general, make sure to like this video, comment down below who you want to see next on the podcast, and make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye, Harrison.
Bye.
Bye.